Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. I'm super excited you're here today because we're jumping into a concept that is honestly a real game changer for your personal finance and just your overall life strategy. We're breaking down the Stickman animation character success mindset. And to do that, we're using something brilliantly simple, a classic stick figure animation. Following this little Stickman's journey perfectly highlights the massive gap between how most of us are taught to live and how the wealthiest, most fulfilled people actually operate.
Okay, so right out of the gate, I've got a question for you. Are you buying time or are you selling it? It's a super simple, totally binary question, but it hits the absolute core of our daily grind. Seriously, every single day you wake up, you're choosing one of these two paths, whether you actually realize it or not. It's the ultimate dilemma of modern life, and frankly, how you answer this entirely dictates your future.
So, let's break this down, starting with Section 1, the standard trade.
This is the default model practically all of us learned from day one in school. Just picture our stick figure character clocking into a clunky old time machine. In this animation, you literally see these little clock icons floating away from our stickman, hovering right into this giant boss's hands. And what does our guy get in exchange for handing over actual pieces of his life? Just a few coins dropping back down. Day in, day out, it's the exact same trade. Hand over your hours, get a few coins. It's pretty much society's default setting.
But that default setting quickly becomes a problem, which brings us to Section 2, the time for money trap.
The cycle I just talked about, clock in, work, clock out, spend, do it all again. It feels really safe, right? It's predictable. But there's a brutal, hidden math problem here. 24. There are exactly 24 hours in a day. That's it. That is a hard ceiling. Because your income is directly tied to the physical hours you can work, there's an absolute, unbreakable limit on what you can ever earn. I mean, no matter how much espresso you chug, you literally cannot caffeinate a 25th hour into existence. You're just fundamentally trapped by the math.
Which brings us to a massive paradigm shift. Let's look at Section 3, the success mindset shift.
If selling time has a hard ceiling, what do the ultra-wealthy do? Well, it's brilliantly simple. They do the exact opposite. They buy time, paying someone else to handle lower-tier tasks so your hours go toward the highest value work only you can do. Now, let's be totally clear. Buying time doesn't mean being lazy. Think of our stick figure again. But instead of handing over clocks, he's sitting calmly at a desk. He's hired other smaller stick figures, maybe a cleaner, a driver, an assistant, to handle the routine stuff. Why? To free up his hands. Now our stickman can focus 100% on this glowing, massive, big idea project. He's paying others to do the things that don't need his unique skills, so his finite hours are laser-focused on the highest value work.
All right, so we've got the philosophy down. Let's look at the hard logic. In Section 4, Mathematics of Buying Time.
I want to show you exactly why the stickman success mindset completely blows the traditional worker model out of the water. Just think about a fixed hourly wage. It's a flat, straight line. Your income is just hours multiplied by your rate. It never compounds. But building and investing, that is a beautiful upward curving line. When you invest your time into building systems, assets, or investments, your income can eventually grow completely independently of the hours you personally put in. You essentially shatter that 24-hour ceiling.
So if the math is just so incredibly obvious, and that upward curve is just infinitely better than the flat line, we kind of have to ask ourselves, why do so few people make the switch? Why doesn't everyone just buy their time back?
To answer that, picture our stick figure standing at a fork in the road. Down one path, there's this giant glowing neon sign screaming, "Safe Paycheck." It's well lit, it's packed with other stick figures, and it offers immediate upfront comfort. But down the other path, the sign says, "Buy your time back." And this path is, well, it's darker, it's narrow, it's totally empty. Why? Because buying your time back means you have to give something up first. You got to risk your own money to hire that assistant or buy that software. You're sacrificing upfront comfort and certainty before you ever see a single drop of reward. And honestly, that upfront risk, that scary step into the dark, narrow path, is exactly why most people never take the leap. Let's fast forward a bit and see how this plays out over a lifetime. Imagine two stickmen, both 60 years old, starting from the exact same spot. The standard trade guy? He's still clocking in and out at that same machine, visibly exhausted from a lifetime of selling every single hour. Zero compounding freedom. Now look at the success mindset stickman. He's sitting calmly by a peaceful lake. In the background, his small hired team and investments are just quietly working away, generating value. One guy sold his hours. The other used his money early on to buy hours back and let that time compound into total freedom. Now, things are about to get a little deeper. Let's move to Section 5, the ultimate twist.
In the source material, there's this incredibly poignant visual right at the end. The stick man who bought his time back looks down at a clock, but instead of seeing numbers ticking away, the face of the clock turns into a mirror, a clock reflecting family, health, and passions. In that reflection, he doesn't see dollar signs, he sees moments, time spent with family, his health, his personal passions. He sees the whole shebang, everything he actually got to experience because he outright refused to trade those precious hours away to someone else's business.
Just let this sink in for a second. Buying time isn't really about money, it's about buying back moments of your life. That right there, that is the absolute core of the success mindset. Money is literally just a tool. True wealth, the kind that actually matters at the end of the day, is reclaiming your life's moments. It's waking up to the fact that every single hour you sell is an hour of your life you can never, ever get back.
Which brings us to a final, lingering thought from our stickman's journey. As our successful stick figure closes his laptop and heads outside into the sunshine with his family, we have to ask ourselves the real question. It's not, hey, how much money can I make per hour? The question you need to answer today is this: how much of your life are you willing to sell just to make a living? Ponder that one for a bit as you go about your day. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer, and I'll catch you next time.